You getting all this, Frank? Yes, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jimmy Faluca reporting, and that was the final countdown. And I'm here with Frank, as I usually am. Frank, how are you?
I'm doing great.
I'm coming off a pretty good birthday weekend, I must say. Thank you to some of our listeners who messaged me. I really appreciate that. I'm 25 now. And yes, I'm a wrestling fan. I have no shame in admitting that. How about you, Frank? You ashamed to be a wrestling fan?
Sometimes.
It depends. I guess it depends on what they put on the show. But, ladies and gentlemen, the reason Frank and I have decided, well, Frank proposed that we do a show and discuss basically what happened last night on Monday Night Raw. And unfortunately, Daniel Bryan came out last night on Raw and relinquished the Intercontinental Championship and claimed that the doctors say he could be out for weeks, could be months, he may never wrestle again. And that, to me, is what bums me out the most, is that the possibility that my favorite wrestler may have to retire. And that sucks. It really sucks. Go ahead, Frank.
For those who don't know, that little tune you played is the final countdown by Europe, and that used to be Daniel Bryan's. Well, when he used to be called Bryan Danielson, that used to be his theme music.
Yeah, when he wrestled in Ring of Honor, that was his theme song. And I tell you, even my friend Chris...
It's an all-time great anthem.
It's a great song. It's a great song. But what Christian and I were kind of hoping that maybe if he had a WrestleMania match, a big-time match, that he would come out to that. But I don't think after the whole CM Punk thing, then they'll never pay for a classic theme song ever again. Which whatever, that's their prerogative, it's their company. But
that song's old. Nobody will know what it is.
Yeah, they think their fans are stupid. They don't think that their fans know Seth Rollins is Tyler Black. They think the fans don't know that Kevin Owens was Kevin Steen. They think the fans don't know that Sami Zayn was El Generico, even though the fans, every time Sami Zayn comes out, they sing the Olay song. I mean, come on. And I think that's one of the bigger indictments on the company, Frank. They think...
They don't. Listen, I want to say one thing that confirmed to me something that I already knew. Last week, I'm sure a lot of people saw on ESPN, I don't know if you saw it, ESPN has a show called E60.
I didn't get a chance to see it, Frank. Tell the viewers about it.
Well, ESPN has so it's been a long series. They have it every now and then. E60. It's a documentary format, and this episode was about NXT. It's called Behind the Curtains, and they showed little glimpses of behind NXT, the process, and they focused around mainly against Adam Rose. Before he became Adam Rose, I think his name, what was his name?
Leo Kruger.
Leo Kruger, they actually that was his first wrestling name, but they actually introduced him by his real name, and they focused around him and Corey Graves, who was announced now. They followed their careers, and I mean, I don't know how you could look at Adam Rose differently. He has a 6-year-old, 2-year-old son who was born with a birth defect. They have to feed him in the stomach with a tube, and he has multiple surgeries. And all throughout the documentary, he was, it was all about his family, making it to feed his kid, and for his little kid. And they showed the process of him going from beginner. He was from South Africa, I believe, and how he became Leo Kruger, and then it wasn't really taken off, and finally, he had to. He came up. He wrote 10 different characters down, and he used Adam Rose, which, in his words, was this over-the-top, flamboyant British rock star. He actually patterned it after Russell Brand. And so, anyway, to make a long story short, they showed the first time he debuted, and it went over. And this is what caught my eye. Triple H congratulated him, and he said, that was very good. It went over. If you notice, he told them they didn't chant Leo Kruger once. They didn't say anything. So you see, they did pay attention to the fans. You see, just that little statement, that tells you a lot. They pay attention. It's just they sweep things under the rug.
I don't know why they do that. You know, to me, you catch more flies with honey than you do with shit. You know, that's something I learned in college from a professor.
Don't think for a second when they boo John Cena, they don't hear it. You know,
They just don't care. That's the thing.
That comes out and they used to chant Goldberg. You don't think they don't hear it. They hear it. They just pretend that it's not happening, or they edit it out, hoping it will go away.
Well, after 10 years of the same guy getting booed, why the hell would you think it's going to go away is beyond me. But let's get back to the issue at hand, which is Daniel Bryan. I think it's a shame that possibly one of the best wrestlers WWE has had in years may never be able to wrestle again. But I'll tell you, Frank, and this is where I got to go off a little bit. What pissed me off the most in the last 24 hours was that I actually saw people online actually celebrating that he's hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, what I want to ask you something. Now I have in case you don't know, I hate John Cena. In case you don't know, Frank, do you know that?
No, of course. I know what you're getting at, but you never wish anybody gets hurt.
Listen, I despise John Cena. I would love to see him retire and go off into the sunset, but I don't want to see the guy break his neck. I don't want to see the guy, against his will, not be able to do what he loves. If playing a character that fans hate is what he loves, be my guest. I'm not going to like you. I don't care how many Make-A-Wish videos they show me. It's not going to make me like you because I see right through you. I know you're a phony. I don't wish the guy hurt. And I actually had this one guy turn around and say, "Oh, Daniel Bryan being hurt's a good thing because it opens up opportunities for other people." Does Daniel Bryan strike you as the kind of guy that's holding guys down, Frank?
No. This whole stupid logic of anybody who actually is happy that he's hurt is because now it's like now you could nobody will ever have to put up with the hijacked pay-per-views and hear the yes chants.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing the most. Now I won't have to hear the stupid fans. Like, okay, let me try to explain something to you guys. You guys are blaming the fans for being behind a wrestler. Isn't that what all this shit is about?
No, James, it's not the fans. It's the internet community that.
I am so sick of that stupid fucking label, Frank. And if I keep going on, that will be here till fucking Christmas.
But that's what these people have been brainwashed. They think that
what
community, and they have these internet darlings like Daniel Bryan and CM Punk and.
Why? What's wrong with... I want to know one thing about this whole indie darling bullshit. I would like to ask the viewers, what is wrong with liking great wrestlers? I mean, if you apply this logic back to the 80s, you know who'd be in the indie darlings? Macho Man Randy Savage, Kurt Hennig, Bret the Hitman Hart, Owen Hart, Davey Boy Smith. All these guys that wrestled all over the world before they came to the WWE. You think they learned how to be great in the WWE? No. WWE signed them when they learned how to be great.
Listen, I don't even think we should talk about having to explain again about the internet wrestling community. There is no internet wrestling community. It's the counterculture. It's the anti-establishment of WWE.
Thank you. Jim Cornette put it the best way. Instead of calling them internet fans, because everyone's on the... This is from Jim Cornette. I'm quoting him verbatim. Calling the wrestling fans internet fans is retarded because everyone's on the internet. They're traditional fans. What's wrong with that? If you want to call me a traditional wrestling fan, thank you. You couldn't give me a better compliment when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, and before, a couple years ago, before NXT became big, everything besides WWE and, well, yeah, I'll say it, even TNA is an independent wrestling organization.
Yeah.
An indie wrestling organization is a small, regional organization or company. That's all it is. That's what an independent wrestling organization is. It's a small regional company. It's a territory.
Exactly. The independence has been in existence for years. I mean, really.
Even though TNA has a TV contract, they're too small to be considered a national company.
No, well, getting back on topic, I just found it to be so distasteful that there were actually people that were celebrating that a great wrestler who you never hear in the dirt sheets has ever been having problems with fans. You never hear from any reports that he's a dick backstage. You never hear any stories that he's trying to hold guys down or stop people's pushes. You never hear that he's been mixed up in drugs. You never hear that he ever showed up fat and drunk. He's a fucking man's man, and yous are happy he's hurt? Get a fucking life.
Those are the real brainwash marks that
I even had one guy turn around and say that it's because of Daniel Bryan that Roman Reigns is getting booed.
Oh yeah, no. How about it's because Roman Reigns can't cut a promo? How about that?
No, I'll take it a step further, Frank. You want to know whose fault it is that Roman Reigns is getting booed? You could blame the boss. Blame Vince. Because you want to know what, Frank? And this is the last time I want to touch on it, because I really don't want to talk about the Roman Reigns situation anymore. Why he's getting booed? Why is there a mixed reaction? Royal Rumble 2015 is the exact reason Roman Reigns is getting the treatment. And it's not just because of what happened to Daniel Bryan in the Rumble. We went through this before, Frank, didn't we? Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, Dean Ambrose, Ryback, the four most over guys in the company in the month of January, were eliminated out of the Royal Rumble like they were banter fodder, like they were job guys, like they were fucking Stevie Richards.
And you're Dean Ambrose in the mix.
I just said Dean Ambrose is one of those guys. He got tossed out after getting punched in the face by the Big Show. Dolph Ziggler literally got tossed out like he was trash. Ryback.
From the time the show broke up to about November was probably the most popular guy in WWE.
Oh, listen, I put this on the page earlier today. With Daniel Bryan gone, the most popular guy in the company right now, until Brock Lesnar comes back, is Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
And honestly, how do you not put the belt on him? If he's who the fans like, you run with him. See? You see what I'm doing right now? Dean Ambrose isn't one of my guys, like one of my top favorite guys. I mean, I like Dean Ambrose as a performer. As a person, I think he's a bit of a prick because he was one of those dumbasses saying the fans should just accept Roman Reigns. Sorry, Mr. John Moxley. The fans decide who they want to cheer for, not you guys. It's up to you guys to go out there and impress us and get us to like you. It's not up to you guys to decide who the fans are supposed to like. And I said this to someone else earlier tonight. You didn't sell 1 million Austin 316 t-shirts by telling the fans to like Steve Austin. Right or wrong, Frank?
Exactly. But I don't know if Dean Ambrose is a main event title guy right now. Maybe it's trying to get that title first. He could cut promos
and the guy can work. I mean, he's a great worker.
It's good, and he's actually watered down. You know, he could do much more, but they just water him down. All he does is that stupid. Not stupid. He does that tilt the world move against the ropes, comes back, goes on, and he does the double.
Well, all right. Let's be honest. Every guy in WWE has their 4 or 5 moves of doom these days. That's how they've watered it down.
I'm not saying it's not his fault.
No, it's not his fault. I mean, let's see. He's got the lunatic fringe clothesline. He's got the elbow off the top rope, and he's got dirty deeds. I mean, I really can't think of any other moves that he does singularly.
But he used to do more moves. But
I'm sure he did. I haven't seen. See, that's the thing.
You know what he gets compared to Piper is because the majority of his match is just boring.
No, but you want to know what? There's nothing wrong with that. As long as the guys, no, I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying that as long as the guy's entertaining, that's Hogan for 10 years had only 3 punches, a boot, and a leg drop, and that was enough for him to sell tickets. I mean,
and they gave him the longest run of U.S. champ in WWE.
And he barely defended the belt. Which was a shame.
Barely defended it. He always won by the skin of his teeth.
No, but
he had Seth Rollins.
But like I was trying to say earlier, it's not about who I like. Because, like I said, Dean Ambrose is not one of my top favorites. I think Dean Ambrose is a great worker, and if he's who the fans want, you go with him. I mean, Frank, I just don't understand how this is. It's like, oh, you're only pissed off Daniel Bryan lost because he's your guy. No, I'm pissed off Daniel Bryan lost the Rumble because he's the most over guy in the company. And had he won that Rumble and went on to WrestleMania, he wouldn't have gotten in the ring with Sheamus the Thursday after WrestleMania and got hurt because the guy was fine heading into WrestleMania. They wouldn't have put a belt on him if he wasn't. Right or wrong, Frank?
Exactly. I will say this about Dean Ambrose, and this is the biggest compliment. Almost all his big matches, pay-per-view matches, whether it's just the Shield or
show stealers, all show stealers.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is awesome.
Absolutely, the guy's a great performer, and like I said,
whatever he does, he just has it. And
yes, he does. Yes, he does. He was outselling John Cena in merchandise in November, and then he started losing left and right. You think that's a coincidence, Frank?
No.
I don't believe in coincidences. But, like I said, anyone that's happy about Daniel Bryan getting hurt, seriously, get a fucking life. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Fuck those people.
I mean, he has Daniel Bryan. This guy he's undersized. He's not your typical.
Most of the greats are not the typical.
Before he came to WWE, the guy wrestled everywhere he went. It was a show stealer everywhere he went.
Yes, he was.
He has great matches. He's a great technical wrestler, submission specialist. He comes to WWE. He's an afterthought in the Nexus. He actually gets fired.
He gets fired because he choked a guy with a fucking tie. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever. And then he comes back as a heel, gets over. Wins the World Heavyweight Championship, loses in 18 seconds. Guy comes back the next night, is more over than ever. They take T-Bone and Kane.
Which I will not lie, was very entertaining stuff, him and Kane.
That took on a life of its own. How funny was it with him and Kane and that doctor?
Dr. Shelby. Oh, God.
Shelby, when they were doing the scene in the diner. I mean, come on, that's hilarious. That's connecting. And the guy comes back on his own, and he is the most popular guy since Stone Cold?
I would say since Stone Cold, because can you think of another guy that has been able to maintain popularity that long at that level that fans would literally rebel for him? Because, let's be honest, Frank, since Stone Cold, there really hasn't been anyone that the fans cared about that much.
Then you have the idiots who are going to say, what's the table? It's a chant. Yeah, the chant, they could be right if the chant lasted for 6 months and then nobody cared about it.
Exactly, and that is what I try to get through to some people that are just...
This went on for 2 years. That's not as I always say, it's not a fad.
It's a trend.
A fad or a trend is when something happens for 2 months, 3 months.
Exactly. It's not either of those two things.
The chant took on a life of its own, like you say. It was used in arenas, sporting arenas, everywhere. And the guy is just he connected, and that's something that
can't be taught.
That happens once every 10 years.
It cannot be taught. And you want to know what pisses me off when it comes to that, Frank? How defiant the company was with just running with him. And I'm not talking about just this year. I'm talking about last year. I'm talking about last year's Royal Rumble. Daniel Bryan, in January of this year, conducted an interview. It was online. I don't remember what company it was. Jesus, I remember I was talking to someone earlier today and I was mentioning it. He basically came out and he said, going into the Rumble, the plan was for him to wrestle Sheamus and for Batista to wrestle Randy Orton in the main event. There were no plans for Daniel Bryan to get the WWE Championship. So, to all of you idiots, and yes, I will say idiots, that were telling me, Jimmy, why are you so worried? He's going to get the belt at WrestleMania. Yeah, if CM Punk doesn't walk out and Batista doesn't get rejected the way he did, it don't happen. And then you'll get those people say, well, they did the match, so what are you complaining about? It's not a matter of complaining. It's a matter of it's an indictment on WWE and their decision making. Because how could you have something like this over in front of your face, and you do nothing with it. They had no intentions, Frank, zero intentions of putting him in that match. Now, can you imagine what that crowd would have been like after seeing the streak end with and they're left with Batista versus Randy Orton?
Oh my God! If that people would have walked out, they would have walked out of WrestleMania, but they would have had a pin drop in that place.
I
They
mean,
would have had moves. The moves would have put down when Batista would have won.
think about this, Frank. Daniel Bryan was so good that night, he was able to get the crowd back into WrestleMania after watching The Undertaker lose. Think about that. And could anyone else have been able to do it that night?
For 20 minutes, everybody forgot about the streak.
Just saying, to those of you that think that it's only the three-lettered word, yeah, Frank, over 100,000 fans signed a petition to get him into the WrestleMania 30 main event because they wanted to chant yes.
Yeah.
I mean, what frightens me is that these people actually live amongst us.
Listen, I said it 100,000 times. The plan was for him to get his moment at SummerSlam.
And to immediately have it taken away from him.
That was the plan. That was the plan. And then they would have buried him, put him in the stupid chain, and buried him until finally he would have went away.
I just don't understand why they would have went down that route, Frank. I mean, you get a guy who's as over as almost anyone you've ever had, and you don't run with him because he wasn't in the plan? What kind of business logic is that? When you're in the entertainment business, isn't your two main goals to make the most money possible and to entertain your audience?
That's what I read somewhere. If I'm a shareholder or a stakeholder in WWE, wouldn't you get pissed off if they're leaving money on the table?
Beats the hell out of me, Frank. I mean, if I'm them, I'm fucking cross-promoting with the Islanders. I'm cross-promoting with the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm cross-promoting...
If I'm a stakeholder and Vince has one of his conference calls, I'm saying, why isn't Daniel Bryan being promoted? Why isn't Daniel Bryan have merchandise?
He's barely had any new shirts since he came back. He had one shirt, and that was it. I guarantee you, though, that if it was Cena, he would have had 2 or 3 shirts already.
And the stupid merchandise they put out, when it was a hat with a beard.
You want to know what the terrible thing is, Frank? I've bought a lot of his merchandise, and a lot of it I don't wear. I bought it to support him. Because
but I'm saying, would you actually go outside and wear
ain't no fucking way I would wear a shirt with a goat on the front of it. Are you kidding me?
Or a hat with a beard.
I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, how dumb do you think I am? I mean, I have one of the shirts that says Daniel Bryan and has the goat with a smile on it. I never wear that fucking shirt. I only bought it to support Daniel Bryan. That was it. There's only 2 ways you could support your favorite wrestlers. You either support them by cheering them at the events, or you support them by buying their merchandise. I've held up my end of the deal when it comes to Bryan. And now that I know his career may be over, you know, Frank, I don't know if some of our viewers are aware, but this August I'm going to Chicago to meet The Undertaker.
No, I know.
You know, and the day before, Daniel Bryan's going to be there, and my fiance and I are going to be arriving in Chicago on the day before. So now she wants me to go see Bryan for a second time.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever told you. I missed meeting Daniel Bryan by 5 minutes. When I think it was like last year or 2 years ago when they had a Barclays Center show. He came in Brie Bella ate at this little vegan place like 8 blocks away from my house. And when they posted the picture, I was literally 5 minutes away from it.
Wow! I can tell you from meeting him, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
Yeah, definitely.
But ultimately, what it comes down to is this: there's a very big misconception that it's his neck and that he was hurt from the second he came back. Let Frank and I correct those 2 things. Bryan was.
I want to say I apologize because for a while I was saying he suffered a concussion, so obviously that's not.
No, that's obviously not. And I said the same thing. So Frank and I both apologize for that. But
that's what a lot of people online were putting.
But this is what happened. He he was fine up until the week after WrestleMania, and I want to make sure our viewers understand that he was fine. Otherwise, they would have never put any belts on him. That's number one. Number two. Jesus, good Lord. It drives this whole situation is just very, it puts a damper on everything, Frank. That's number one. He was fine up until the week after WrestleMania. That's number one. Number two, it is not his neck. It's his shoulder. His shoulder's what's giving him issues, because the report just came out today that they conducted an MRI on his shoulder. That's what they're looking into. It is not his neck. His neck has been fine since the summer of 2014, when he had the surgery.
Like I said, it has to do with nerve issues. He has nerve issues. And like I told you before, if you remember, the first time around, what was holding him back was he couldn't get strength in his arm, and that's the nerve.
Well, listen, I'm not a doctor. I will never pretend to be a doctor, because I have no patience. Poor attempt at humor. I'm turning into Cena. I should kill myself. But, if Daniel Bryan's unable to come back at 100%, then, as much as I hate to say it, I support the notion of him retiring. But, if what he needs is time, and he can come back and be better than ever, and be injury-free, barring any accidents that happen in the ring, because you can't predict injuries, Frank, in any contact sport. You and I both know that, right?
Uh-huh.
If what he needs is time, then I, as his fan, am more than willing to give that to him. Selfishly, do I want to see him in the ring every Monday night? You're damn right I do, because I want to see the best. I'm tired of U.S. Open challenges where I know what the outcome is going to be. I'm tired of Seth Rollins, not being able to have a match by himself without actually having interference. It's annoying sometimes. I want Daniel Bryan at his best. And if what he needs is time, then we as his fans, those of us that are his fans, should give that to him. If he needs to take a sabbatical similar to Shawn Michaels, Frank, the guy's 34 years old. If he needs a sabbatical, I say let him take it. If he mirrors what his mentor did after his sabbatical, I welcome it. How about you?
I agree with you. I think he should not come back until he's at 100%. But I'm looking online, and nerve damage is caused. What he has is caused by trauma. Of course, that's from wrestling from the neck, and it causes weakness, pain, sensitivity, and the only thing you could do for it is what he's doing, his physical therapy.
Yeah, the guy posted on his Instagram, I would say at around, Jesus, I don't know what time it was, I've been so busy today, but he posted on his Instagram, and in a matter of a half hour, 580 people commented. I mean, Frank, I think they just commented on it just to say the word yes.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it right now. It's just the only thing you could do is get physical therapy, pain relievers, acupuncture, meditation. But having surgery would probably end his career instantly.
Really?
Yeah, because they would have to operate on his neck again. And you listen. You can't. Nerves are the most sensitive things. If you cut a nerve, if you're a surgeon and you cut a nerve, you basically destroyed that person.
Well,
you can't fuck around with nerves.
No, listen. I'm all for what's going to be best for Daniel Bryan's health. I mean, I don't want to see the guy get stretchered out and he can't walk again. As much as I want to see him get in the ring and do the amazing things.
Have a paralyzed arm,
Absolutely not. I do not want to see him have that happen to him.
Anybody.
No, or anyone for that matter, exactly, or anyone else for that matter. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. You hate to see any athlete get hurt, whether I like them or not. Listen, I hate Roger Clemens. I think he's a piece of shit. But I would never want to see him get hurt on the ball field. I hate Tom Brady. I would never want to see him, get friggin' massacred on the football field.
Of course not.
And as much as I hate Cena, and I would love to be rid of him, I would much rather him retire on his own accord. Not because he gets hurt. So, But Frank and I are going to close this segment down, and we'll be back with our second segment in a few minutes. On behalf of Frank and myself, I highly doubt Daniel Bryan will ever see this. But if he manages to, dude, we wish you the best. We want you back in the ring, but only if you're going to be 100%. And if you're not going to be 100%, then keep your health, become a father, be the good man that you are, and trust me when I tell you, we don't give a damn what those idiots in Titan Towers think. As far as we're concerned, I can speak for myself. I say he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah, I guarantee. Well said.
Godspeed, Daniel Bryan, and Frank and I will be right back.